I'm your host, Knuckles87, and with me today is GX Echidna.
I haven't seen the movie yet, but I hear that it has stuff in it.
And also with me today is Shigs, or Jason. Hey there, Shigs.
Hello, yes, I hear it's got creatures that run very fast and punch a lot.
Liars! I don't believe it.
I hear it as Tom the Cop.
Oh, my favorite Sonic character.
My favorite Sonic character is Olive Garden.
And Maddie the Yoga Lady.
I don't know why that hit me just right, Jason, but it really did. The idea, the concept of, like, I've said a lot of bullcrap. My favorite Sonic character is insert something stupid, but that might have topped them all. My favorite Sonic character is Olive Garden.
Good job, Shigs. You did it.
When you're there, you're family.
Hey.
It's a movie about family.
So, as usual, we're going to start off our little show with by talking about what we've been playing, and we've all been playing a few things, such as Kirby and the Forgotten Land. GX.
Yeah. We've both been playing a bunch of Kirby.
I've been playing it by now, but I'm saving up my money for the new Lego Star Wars next week, so I gotta watch the wallet.
Man, if you want to make worse choices, you could go right ahead. One of those games is good.
I'm going to have to hear your opinions on WWE 2K22 later. So, Kirby 3D, very good. I enjoy it. It's a very polished, well-designed 3D platformer.
So, there's been a lot of hubbub basically about, hey, this looks like it's a game being made on the Mario 3D World engine, and I don't know where the facts actually lie with that, and I'm not going to pretend to, but I will say this game Kirby is to this game what classic Mario is to Mario 3D World, which is to say it is a very direct but incredibly polished and adorable interpretation of classic Kirby gameplay.
Oh yeah.
But just in 3D. Just in 3D. It's everything that you would expect from the Kirby thing. Like every major piece of Kirby symbols or like iconography is there. All the enemies are there. All the weird elements of Kirby level design are there. It's just now everything's been very cleanly, very directly been interpreted in 3D, and it really works.
Honestly,
I mean, I have played the demo, so I can at least say that, and it's quite the game. You know, just it feels like this feels like same old Kirby, but in a full 3D environment.
Like playing it now, it's kind of surprising how long it took for them to transition Kirby into 3D, because they just took the basic classic gameplay, added a third dimension. It still works very well. It's still very recognizable, but it's just like as a third dimension now.
There's a little bit less versatility in each of the powers, and like in terms of actual elemental power, there are fewer than there would have been in the 3DS entries, but they've made up for that in a few ways. Basically through this sort of power upgrade system, you can collect these like crystal stars that, when you combine them with some money and some blueprints, let you just give a permanent upgrade to a power that you will see throughout. And you can actually kind of swap between them. And not only that, but like each of them is aesthetically different as well. So
yeah,
I think
I think the demo gave us a taste of that. And the upgraded sword power up, like it gives Kirby like a fur hat or something, I think. and it just like makes the sword slashes way more powerful. And
Mhm.
really just changes how you use the power up.
Yeah, some of them are based off some of these upgrade styles are based off of the existing boss enemies. Some of them are just wholly original visually. I think right now visually one of my favorite, and I don't really want to spoil it, but if you get to the third style of the Ranger Kirby, the one with the gun, like
Yeah.
it sort of bucks what either of the previous two really look like, and it's really
Ooh.
kind of out there. Uh,
I really enjoy the Ranger one. Like that's definitely one of. Usually I default to the sword, but that's definitely like one of my go-tos now. Whenever I get the chance.
with as late game as I am, and Alex, I know you're still pretty early in the game. You had only gotten it recently. I got it at launch. I've been playing it since launch. I've beaten it. I've gotten all the major upgrades, and I'm sort of in this somewhat significant post game.
Oh my! Do Kirby
Yeah,
games usually have a significant post game?
they usually have like a lot of crazy modes that it's like, here's the time
Oh
attack,
yeah,
here's this.
yeah,
Uh, I don't. I guess I shouldn't go too much detail into post game. It reuses a lot of the original stuff, but it's just really hard, and they change some things up visually based on where the ending of this game goes. Like, the premise of this game is
you
you are
said the ending is
Kirby.
kind of nuts.
Yeah, yeah, it is. The premise of the game is you are Kirby. You are sort of sucked through this vortex at the beginning of the game, along with a bunch of Waddle Dees and who knows what else. You're thrown into this just sort of abandoned post-apocalyptic cityscape, and you're just sort of tasked to go along in it with your newfound buddy Elfalin and the little turquoise thing with ears that can fly. And
Yeah,
unlike most Kirby games, which are mostly built off of just progressing to the end of a level, this one has you finding Waddle Dees hidden throughout the level, and it doesn't ask you to find a whole lot of them in the same way that I got really frustrated with Balan Wonderworld.
yeah.
You have to get a number of them,
Well,
but you get a number of them
one
just for beating the level.
I will say this about the Wildies versus Balan. I have like just naturally found most of the Waddle Dees by just exploring the level. And like that's probably one of my greatest delights of this game is that like, I'm just like always trying to go off the beaten path to like, find a new challenge and get another Waddle Dee.
And it's
And
very good at
every single
telling
one is
you
fun to get.
it's very good at telling you if you're missing something as well. Like right away, as you're performing the upgrade, you get a Waddle Dee in town who is the wise Waddle Dee, and he'll tell you, hey, you missed an upgrade on this stage. And in fact, it's actually in this part of the level. You can go
Huh.
ahead. He won't tell you exactly, but it's like, okay, look around here and figure it out.
Well, that's
All of
helpful.
the hidden Waddle Dees, with the exception of like four of them, they specifically tell you this is a mission, do this thing or find this thing, and you will get an additional Waddle Dee for that. And
And
as
what's
you
nice about that is that it encourages you to like go back and play the level and do the additional thing because you already know exactly what to do because it just tells you.
and as you're collecting these Waddle Dees, they are building up the sort of base town that you have sort of established. So you'll start to have this much more bustling hub of these Waddle Dee characters, where eventually you'll be able to unlock a like a restaurant where
Ooh.
you can get items that you can hold on to and take with you into levels, and then as you get more, it expands even further, and you will get like this location for a boss rush mode, and it's just, but it's not what all of this is great, but it's not what really pushes this game over the edge for me. And what what really pushes it over the edge for me is there's just an incredible amount of attention to detail here. Kirby and the enemies and the Waddle Dees just have like so much detail and tiny animations to them, contextual animations. Watching things like the mouthful mode, which we haven't even talked about yet,
Yeah.
where basically it was introduced in the trailer where Kirby swallows this thing that is
Well,
bigger than he and then just
doesn't even
uses it to
swallow it.
manipulate and solve puzzles. But
But yeah, like mouthful mode is definitely my favorite addition in this game so far, because it gives just Kirby a new way to play and another way to transform, and so far the ones I've played have been pretty fun.
I'm a big fan of like the stuff in Robobot and Triple Deluxe where they give you the big gimmick that
Yeah.
they let you play around with. In Robobot, it was the robot which could scan enemies and transform in different ways. In Triple Deluxe, it was this like super suction ability that you mostly use to solve puzzle areas, and that's still true here. It's mostly about solving puzzle areas, but in this case, there's a much greater diversity to the items that you can sort of interact with using mouthful mode. I think like even something as simple as stairs. You can eat stairs,
Oh yeah,
move
and
them
like
elsewhere, or
yeah.
use them to crush barriers and then just spit them out and use them as stairs.
Like yeah, I had to like solve a puzzle where I was trying to get up to a cannon, and I had to light it, but I couldn't like leave the stairs where I can to let me easily get to the cannon because like then like I can't light it, and so I had to like light the cannon, suck up the stairs, move the stairs, unsuck the stairs, run up the stairs, and get to the cannon before it goes off. And so like yeah, like it really does just open up level traversal in some very weird ways.
But there's also just little touches to the stages. Like whenever I think of Mario 3D World, which is a game I absolutely adore,
Oh yeah.
it's still a very abstracted world in that game. Like you're in Mario ass Mario levels. It's just mostly consistently colored blocks with different patterns and nice
Yeah,
leaves and foliage
like
everywhere. But
they don't
largely
really look like
speaking,
worlds.
yeah, you're running around big abstract blocks. And they're fun big abstract blocks, but they're abstract blocks. Kirby still has a fairly similar style of level design, but it's all in the context of a place, whether you are exploring an abandoned shopping mall or you are going through this like oil refinery on the sea or you are
Mm.
exploring underground tunnels of an abandoned subway station.
In fairness, Kirby's always been pretty good at that.
Kirby hasn't always been pretty good at that. I would say
Okay,
some of the
well, the
2D
3D
ones
test
don't.
versions.
Yeah. But like one of the things that I think is most telling about just the level of care put into this is a moment that I experienced whenever I was in a level and there are all these dog enemies around called Woofies that generally speaking most of the time they will just notice you and run at you and try to attack you,
You
but
die.
occasionally they'll just be sitting somewhere in the level doing something. But
It's another one of those cases of a Kirby character that you don't want to kill because they're too adorable. But at the
yeah,
same time, you got to do
but
what you got to do.
But in this circumstance, in this level, there's one that's just sort of walking on a path at the beginning of the level, and yeah, you could kill it, you could eat it, you could do whatever you want. But this is like my third playthrough through that level, and all I did was just sort of follow it, and it didn't really pay me any mind or anything. I just sort of followed
Huh.
it through the whole level, going through the little level structure stuff. And by the end of it, it walked into an alcove that I hadn't noticed before. And I went in there as well, and I got rewarded for doing so with some big coins. So it's like,
Huh.
Interesting.
that's actually really cool. I just
Huh.
let this thing happen, and it rewarded me for it. There's also one where it's like there's a stage that's really windy, and if you can find a little alcove there, you'll find a bunch of them just huddled in a corner avoiding the storm. It's just freaking adorable.
The only dog I've spared so far was one that was sleeping, and I realized it was sleeping before I killed it, and so I was like, I'll see if it attacks me and I'll let it live, and it just kept sleeping. So.
The ending's nuts. Like every Kirby game ends with an insane ending against an insane boss fight, and
Eldritch
this is no
Horror.
this is no exception. This one's weird. This one's bizarre. But yeah, I love it a lot. But it also comes down to the argument of like, hey, do you really like Kirby games? Then you will really like this. If you don't especially care for Kirby games and the way that they handle difficulty, this is not going to be any better for you. It is a
Yeah.
Kirby game top to bottom.
Like, I think this is probably the most difficult Kirby game I've played of the like modern iterations, but that's not really saying anything. I will
Yeah, I
say
mean,
that
it's
I
weird that,
do. Go on.
sorry, go ahead.
I will
I'm
say
saying
that.
the demo had wild mode and easy mode, and wild mode was still the easiest thing I've ever played.
It gets harder. The bosses definitely get more difficult, and like I said, I'm in the post game right now, and it's tough. It's a
I'm looking
difficult,
forward to
tough
that.
boss finale
But
thing.
as it stands, it doesn't top Kirby Robobot for me. But it's definitely at least in the number 2 slot right now for my like my all time favorite Kirby games.
It
So
might
it's
it might be in the top slot for me. It might be in the
well,
top slot.
you beat the game. I'm hoping that by the time I beat the game, it'll be there for me as well. But for me, it's like I really enjoy it. I really like seeing Nintendo making more 3D platformers. They really need to do more of that. But at the same time, it feels more like an evolution of Kirby than a revolution of Kirby. So like this doesn't like feel as big as Mario Odyssey or Breath of the Wild, but it didn't need to be, never needed to be. I'm still really happy that they made this. So you know, solid like really good 8.5 out of 10 for me so far.
Cool. You and I also played something else together. We played some
Yes,
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC.
yes we
I
did.
didn't, I did not play this with you guys, but I do have the DLC myself as well.
Oh, good.
So did any of you guys spend any time with Mario Kart Tour at all?
I
Yeah,
tried. I
I've
did
played
not
those a
get
little
far.
bit, but I'm not that into it. But I do like the tour inspired tracks here. I think they're
Yeah.
great tracks. I just think it was in the wrong game this entire time.
I love all of the tour tracks. I love Ninja Hideaway. I love Paris, whatever. I love Tokyo Speedway or whatever. You know what I mean. But
Yeah.
I guess I love those tracks. They are great, and I'm so happy to have them in a game that I actually want to play.
Yeah.
I I had spent quite a bit of time playing Tour, and there's a couple of upgrades to these versions that I definitely appreciate. And first and foremost is the music, because the music is
Oh yeah.
fantastic, and it has been re resampled, remixed, recomposed from whatever the original was on Tour. But also, Tour did this thing where it tried to scrape more material out of these original tracks by creating like remixed versions of it. And what this version of the tracks do is, rather than having 3 versions of the same track, each lap that you take on the Paris track or the Tokyo track shifts to a different layout. So the first
Yeah.
path you'll go through Paris will take you through some streets, the second will take you through others, to the extent that I was deeply concerned the first time I tried to play this track, because I had lapped a computer so much that it was going in the opposite direction, and we were both traveling the correct way. So they
um,
definitely play with that quite a bit.
that is one reason why I like these tracks so much is that they just like combined multiple versions into a single thing that changes. And so it lets the track kind of change and evolve over the course of the race. Thanks.
They do seem to be the best tracks out of the new DLCs, just the tour ones.
I know a
in my
lot of
opinion.
people don't like Toad circuits, which I guess that is a bit basic,
It's
but
basic, but it's
I don't know.
fine. I don't
It's fine.
really have a problem with it.
I also really enjoy going through Coconut Mall. Like I do kind of miss having like proper stairs for the escalators, but you know it's still a really fun multi-tiered track.
I like the
Absolutely.
original song better than the remix, but this is still pretty good.
You know which track has the best remix song though? Cocoa Mountain.
Yeah.
It really does. Just going straight into the banjo for it.
Mm.
I adore that track. It is certainly one of the. I will tell you though, Ninja Hideaway is a butt. Like that.
Oh yeah.
That track is incredibly difficult.
Oh,
Like
that's insanely
when
hard.
I was preparing Racing You, I was I just started racing on that track exclusively because I could tell that was going to be the rainbow road of the night for me, and I
Yeah,
got
I mean,
pretty decent at it.
I normally play on 150cc, and I couldn't beat that track. I had to actually tone it down because it was
I
kicking
beat
my
it on
butt until I
150,
learned it. Yeah.
but I'm never going to be able to touch that track at 200 though.
I think what I'm finding is these. I was very excited to get into these 8 tracks. We will emphasize there were 8 of them released. And I was just waiting and waiting for these to come out, and I spent time going through the laps, and then I was done, and I felt like, oh yeah, I guess I'm done with these. I guess I got everything I really wanted out of them in the span of, let's say, I don't know, 2-3 play sessions. Had fun with it.
Played it pretty steadily for about a week before dropping it. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, like that's ultimately the biggest issue with Mario Kart 8 is that there is very little in the way of single player content, and without any new characters to
Oh yeah,
play
and
with, yeah.
having just some DLC every few months, you're like, well, this is really nice. Now, what else you got?
But you know, like
Smash Brothers
there's
occasionally had that for me whenever it was a character that I didn't always jive with, but
oh man, Minecraft.
eh, Minecraft was a more interesting times.
Not for
But
me.
but I think what it's going to come down to is sort of also how I feel about the
Uh-oh.
Smash Brothers DLC in that like I like this stuff. It did not last me super long, but whenever I have all of it released and I can just sort of shuffle it or just sort of go through, like having about twice the variety as the original base game is going to appeal to me much more than just the
Yeah.
piecemeal stuff.
Yeah, and I'm definitely looking forward to like when we're doing more online because now that this is happening, I do think that we are going to be playing online a lot more. And with 40 more tracks to go, there's going to be plenty more for us to do over the next year and a half.
Just to give the
So,
briefest Pokemon
yeah.
checkup, I've been continuing my mission, although it's been detracted. It's been it's been detracted. What am I thinking of? Detracted, delayed. I've been busy playing Kirby, and Kirby has taken my time and energy.
Delayed
But
work.
I did finish Pokemon Black. Pokemon Black has. I never made it to the end, and it has an absolutely insane ending. Like, more insane than I've ever seen in a Pokemon game. Still have issues with its interface, but, you know, it was still the best Sonic interface at the time. Been chatting with other people about Pokemon in this time as I've decided to move on to Pokemon Y next. And Pokemon Y structurally has some weirdness, but man, do I prefer its interface, and man, did I really miss like the Pokemon Ami stuff, the ability to just pet your Pokemon and give them treats. That means something to me, and yeah. But
We're gonna do
that's
two
about it for the
now.
Pokemon update. I'm sure I'll have another game completed by next episode or something.
So for me, my gaming has been a little scattershot. Like I've played a bunch of stuff on Dolphin. Like I was like trying to get Knights and Journey of Dreams to run better on my Win 3, and I've been playing some Sonic Heroes. But more recently, I decided to try out a demo for a game called Mad Rat Dead, which is a rhythm, which is a rhythm 2D platformer, starring an undead rat reliving his last day after he was granted a second shot from the rat god. And it is a surprisingly fun and playable rhythm game for me because it's like I kind of suck at rhythm games. Like rhythm games for the most part tend to demand really precise timing that I am just not really all that capable of delivering regularly. But this game is way more forgiving for the most part, and like so, kind of lets me enjoy this really nice soundtrack with this with with with, with this really nice 2D with some really nice 2D level design. And so you've got to of course do your movements to the beat, and there's a decent amount of allowance for like when for like how in tune with the track you need to be with the music you need to be. But like the nature of the music, like when you are in the zone, like you can just like move through these levels in this game really smoothly because you press the A button to shoot forward. You press the B button to jump, and press it again to like you can like lock on and home in on enemies. And you can also like charge up one of your moves with X or drop down with Y. And so very simplistic move set, but when combined with moving in time with the music, it's really easy to just get into this flow that just carries you throughout the level. And when you are doing well, it just feels so great to pull off. And the levels are like just open enough where like it's not this isn't like Bit Trip Runner where you are on a where you're like you're auto running. This is fully free movement. It's not like on rails or anything like that. And so like it really combines rhythm gameplay with platforming in a way that I haven't really encountered before. And so like it gets like I said, it just feels really great to pull off. So
I have some breaking news here. I don't know if it's breaking meaningful news, but it sure is weird. Let's go over to the let's go over to the full screen cam here.
okay.
We've got some screenshots over on the Discord of of the Kart Racer Rush Plus crossover with Sonic, which I'm
Souvenirs from Mobius.
yeah,
What?
What?
that's a phrasing that someone chose. Number one, I don't know what to make of this. Like my core thing is
Whoa.
my core assumption on here is basically did they just not, are they going by past information,
Oh
or
boy.
like did is this part of I don't know, the redirection of the world building that we've begun to
I
have?
hope so. I want Mobius to come back. Calling it Sonic's World is stupid.
Oh boy, yeah, there have been so many American versions of the series that have actually named it Mobius. Like there's been multiple.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And it's
Like
either they didn't have the right knowledge, or Sega saying, yeah, that you could, it's okay now to say call
or
it
or,
that.
or
Maybe
Sega doing a poor job approving things.
Yeah, maybe that too. Maybe Sonic's Planet finally has the name and second movie in its Mobius. Who knows?
Right.
Ooh, I hope so.
Jason, you've got some WWE for us. Sorry to take over hosting, Alex, but that seemed important.
brother.
That
I-
seemed
I- I-
important.
I was kind of curious if you had any thoughts on Mad Rat, because I know that tends to be your
I
up
have
your alley.
I have seen stills of it, but I have not seen or heard anything of it beyond that.
Well,
So,
That's the first time ever
there's a
hearing of
very
this.
beefy demo out there that you can try out. That's what I played. I haven't bought it yet because it's like $40, but the demo does give you a really good idea of the kind of game it is.
Anyway, so 2K Games took 2 years off of doing any WWE games because the last one they did, 2K20, was a buggy mess because what happens is you get these annual releases, you don't give yourself time to try out new things, new improvements, improve
This game's
things
been
and everything.
disastrous for years.
And I'm a moderate WWE wrestling fan. I used to be a major one, but they've done such a poor job as of late, and it's just not the same, as it's been. But I still like a lot of its roster, so I picked up WWE 2K22. They have pretty much a new staff on 2K that's pretty much an all new team doing this. They put in a new fighting system, a new way of handling things to make things simpler, a little bit more arcade-like, a little bit more noob-friendly, and I think it's working out really well. The graphics are a huge improvement over the previous installment. As far as gameplay goes, like for an instance, when you're trying to kick out of a pin, you'd have to either watch this meter go back and forth and hit a green spot in the meter. But now you just button mash as hard as you can to get up. And so that actually works out better. And they used to have a life bar where if your stamina was all drained, you just impossible to kick out of a pin. And now it's more of a momentum meter where if your opponent's doing good and you're doing bad, your energy goes down, but you can reverse that, and if you start doing well and going back, your energy can go back up. So it's kind of a little bit of a tug and war. But as you're doing it, the bar starts to shrink and shrink depending on how bad that is, and that's a fair thing. But basically, yeah, they've improved it in pretty much every single way. The Rey Mysterio Showcase mode, which shows all of his best matches, is done really well because it cuts from you're in the middle of a match and you'll be playing a game, and it's you'll be playing a wrestling match, but it wants you to do these objectives. Once you're doing these objectives, it blends from the actual in-game graphics into the actual video from that event, and then back in a way that's, well, it's not seamless, but it's pretty close, and so that's pretty amazing. The universe mode is pretty much the same as they had before, where you can manage the shows and decide who you want to have wrestle who. And the other, there's this really stupid My Faction mode, which lets you unlock cards for certain wrestlers, so you can play other people online, but they want you to spend money on this mode with card
Really?
packs you can buy and stuff. But it's kind of ridiculous because it's the worst mode in the game, so I have no incentive to buy any kind of microtransactions from that. So I don't really bother with that. And the other one is a GM mode, which is this a really good strategy game where you're the GM of one of the shows, either Raw or NXT or SmackDown. You start off by doing a draft and picking out which wrestlers you want. And then you have to listen to the fans on what kind, and Triple H, I guess, is the big boss that you want, what kind of show you want. So that could give you like better ratings, which in better ratings gives you more money so you could put on a better show. And so that's actually pretty good too. There's a ton of single player content in it, which really surprised me. So, I mean, plus you can make an entire AEW game out of it in the creative player mode, because you can also create arenas and create other wrestlers who look identical to the actual person, and plus there's a lot of people that WWE has fired off of the rosters that are from the last 2 years that are technically still in the WWE roster in this game, but you could just move them over to AEW.
I was about to
Which is
say, like,
hilarious.
this is the only thing I know about this game before everything that you've described is the weird fact of, like, people trying to tally, okay, this person no longer works with them, this person no longer works with them, this person, it just
Yeah.
just the
So
laundry list of, like,
the beautiful thing about the universe mode is you can create your own new shows, and so on Wednesdays I have AEW Dynamite, and I just either use all the downloadable Create a Wrestler talents from there, or use some of my own roster like Jeff Hardy and Keith Lee and move them to AEW where they're at now. So that's actually kind of hilarious. What's incredible also about the creative wrestle mode is how detailed it is. I could scan a photo of my face. I have a creative wrestler that looks exactly like me in it, and the announcer actually says my actual full name, first, middle, and last, which is pretty impressive. But overall, out of all of the 2K games released since way back in like SmackDown Know Your Role or something like that, this is the best one in like a decade. They've done an incredible job with it.
Awesome. I wasn't expecting anything from this, so good to hear they finally got their act together, I guess.
Oh yeah, it's a massive improvement. I really enjoyed it.
So you said that that they expect you to spend money on the online mode.
Yeah, no, not online. There's a you could play people online in regular match mode.
So I'm just wondering,
but
like,
they have a thing called My Faction, which is kind of a I don't know how to put it, but it's you can go against other people online. You can get your own set of groups together. You unlock wrestlers through there. There's some wrestlers that are exclusive, like 90s Triple H, that are only available if you unlock it through that mode. But it's a mode that really doesn't add anything to the game. It doesn't need to exist other than they want you to have some microtransactions, and they didn't want to interrupt the main game in any way.
So that's the extent of the microtransactions then.
Yeah, it's not Gran Turismo. It's Gran Turismo 7 where it interrupts the entire game with microtransactions.
Or like All right.
Yeah, speaking of games with microtransactions, here we got Fortnite Season 2 has launched, and with it was some massive improvements and another character roster with some Marvel characters, including Doctor Strange at level 100. And within like 20 days, you can unlock the Prowler, who is a Marvel character as well, the villain. And the rest are like original characters and such. They did not have an ending event for between Season 1 and Season 2, because this is now Chapter 3. We're on a brand new island from after Season 1. And so Season 2, the theme is invasion, and the reason that's why they don't have a live event is because real events are going on at bad timing, kind of thing. So the villains are like these people called the Imagine Order, and the heroes are called like the Seven, who are trying to defend the loop, which is the island you are on. It's called a loop because, of course, every time the storm shrinks and everyone's down to 0, it just resets everything again. It's explained a little bit in that Batman Fortnite thing. But anyway, there are some improvements from this season from the last. You can now sprint instead of just holding down to run a little bit. You'll do an absolute full sprint across the map. You can now do a little bit of parkour. You can jump and grab onto roofs and pull yourself up. And that's new. And that adds to the sliding that they introduced just last season, just like a month ago. So you got a nice variety of moves in the game now. And the big thing, the biggest improvement is something they actually took out, which is they now have a no build mode in the game. So you no longer have to watch as you're trying to shoot somebody and they just almost magically build a huge tower in front of you an instant to give themselves shelter and then peek out from the roof to try to snipe you.
isn't that
That's
like the
gone.
whole point
And
of
yeah,
Fortnite?
I mean, it's called Fortnite. The whole point was to build the forts. But that's what it was when it was back when it was a single player game, is you were making forts for zombie horde mode and everything. But PUBG was such an influence on it that they just moved it to multiplayer, where multiplayer became popular. But yeah, well, it's just for like 2 weeks. It's a temporary thing, but then I think they're going to move it on to a second mode because the response has been overwhelmingly positive to not be able to build, which is shocking to me that people
Well,
not wanting to build was
I
actually a
guess
good
this is
thing.
like people who want to do Smash Brothers, no items, Final Destination.
Yeah, kind of like that, where they just want a fair match where they could just, aim and shoot at other people without them hiding behind something. There's a few unfair things, like now there's tanks on the field, and if you're in one of those, you could do some major damage to everyone and all the buildings around you. So you gotta be careful with that. Which it's great in multiplayer 3-on-3 though. If you got 3 people in a tank, they're dang near indestructible.
You've been playing Tunic lately.
Yeah, that's the other one. I'll give that a little mention. The first time this game is a long time in the making. It's done by a single developer, one person. And I played this, I think it was either 2017 or 2018 at E3 in the Microsoft theater. There was that in the 2018. Yeah, it was that long ago, and I really enjoyed it. Then I'm like, oh, when does this come out? It's like Zelda, except this cute little fox that you gotta,
I remember you talking
attack
about that
items from. Yeah, back then, and they had a demo released last year of it. And it still felt like the same, like it was kind of Zelda with this fox. It's a little you got to figure things out because you get pieces of a what looks like an NES manual done in a foreign language, so it gives you some hints on what to do. But once you can play the actual full game, it's less Zelda and more Dark Souls or Elden Ring, where you could get lost really easy on where to go next. The enemies get really hard, really fast. I mean, I'm looking all over for the sword at the beginning of the game because you just start off with a stick. And that stick barely does any damage to these enemies that could damage you pretty hard. So it took a while. I was eventually able to find the sword, and then after that, eventually find the shield that you can get. But yeah, it's a lot harder than the demo originally let on. It's a pretty tough little game. Huh. It's a solid fun game, but it'll give you a hard time. But I mean, if you're interested, of course, it's on Game Pass. You can try it there if you have Game Pass on your Xbox.
Cool. So was it like a Microsoft published game, or is it just on Game Pass?
I'm not sure if it's Microsoft published. I've only seen it at Xbox shows, so I'm imagining maybe so.
Well,
I've only seen it available for Xbox.
Sounds fun, but it is time to move on to Sonic discussion. So,
Sonic news.
Sonic movie news.
First on the agenda, the Sonic Twitter is promising something big for tomorrow. No, I'm kidding. Like, yeah, apparently they're going to do an April.
They'll probably have something anyway, just to screw us up. The movie's out.
Spoil the movie for the Americans on purpose. That's what they're going to do tomorrow.
So yeah, the movie is out in certain parts of Europe. It comes out in the UK tomorrow. And so, like, yeah, we have a lot of movie news, which is getting its own category right now. So, yeah, Sonic 2 is out. We have a final trailer. We've got some 30-second clips that we can discuss.
And most importantly, Dreadnox has already seen it and has his review up on the site. And it is, I would describe it as positively glowing.
Yeah. Like, from what I can gather, like, Sonic fans are really going to enjoy this, at least to an extent. Like, I think it depends on how much of a Sonic fan you are, and like how much.
I think it depends on what style of Sonic fan you are, perhaps.
Yeah. Like, I suspect that if anyone in this podcast is going to be super critical, it's going to be you. It should make a good discussion.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't. Here's the thing.
GX is gonna come to the theater with a pen and paper writing down notes.
No, dude, I went to see the first movie ready to think it was like, this is probably going to be mediocre. And so then I decided to go get the D-box seats and see it with my friends in the stupidest possible manner that it is. No, everything I've said about it is exactly how I feel. It's not because I'm putting on critic brain.
No,
It's
I'm
just
just
because,
teasing you.
but yeah.
In any case, so uh, so honestly, from everything we've seen, it's looking pretty neat to me. Still, like the trailers can be very misleading, but the final trailer really did just look cool. It looks like a really action-packed experience, albeit one with some really stupid jokes.
There
Especially
are
from Jim
reasons
Carrey.
here to be optimistic.
Yeah. Like from the complete clips we've gotten, like the wedding, the 30 seconds we got from the wedding subplot, which I think that came from the Late Late Show of James Corden. That actually wasn't bad. Like, good acting, made me chuckle. Seems decent. Doesn't seem. I was expecting this to be like some sort of throwaway, painful thing, but I don't know. It doesn't seem too bad.
It did nothing for me. I got it, but at the same time, like it's a small clip taken out of context to show off James Marsden.
There's humans in it. It's like, hey, look, there's the humans.
Hey, you know what? I'm okay with it. I am okay with the humans. I just don't think that like James Marsden exists to play the straight man, and I'm not interested in seeing the antics of the straight man. We'll say.
Right.
And also, oh, sorry, Jason.
Yeah, we did get the scene of Robotnik invading Sonic's home a little bit, introducing
Well, I haven't
Knuckles.
looked at that.
And
like
I enjoyed that one because Jim Carrey's Robotnik is just unhinged now. He's just, he's just chewing up the scenery even more so than he did in the first one, and I'm enjoying that part of it.
And the final clip we got to look at was Sonic versus Knuckles on a snowboard, which I'm really liking the action in this so far. Like that's probably the most extended bit we've gotten between the two, and Idris Elba, he really is just a good Knuckles. Like he is better than I was expecting, frankly.
You're so
This
dead
works for me.
serious, which is something you don't really see from Knuckles usually. Normally he's serious but kind of dumb and gullible at the same time, and here he's almost but not quite Shadow levels of
I wouldn't say Shadow.
overly serious.
Like Shadow, he is serious, and the story treats him seriously. Knuckles, he is serious, but the story doesn't really seem to be treating him seriously. I don't know. That's at least the vibe I'm getting from this.
Yeah, but like the difference between Knuckles from games and Knuckles in this is it's not so much like just seriousness. It's more like in the movie here, Knuckles is an actual threat. In the games,
Yeah.
Knuckles, I think, is pursued as more of like a trickster trying to protect himself or like trying to initiate things on his own home turf. This one is like, no.
Yeah, in the movie, he wants to kill Sonic, basically, in this movie.
This is someone who's going to F you up. This is someone who's going to F you up because you're in his way.
And like we see him like punching Sonic through things, like tossing him around, smashing up the scenery. Like it is kind of weird seeing Knuckles in this context. I will admit. Like, of course, Knuckles hasn't really had a focus like this since the '90s. So that in of itself is a bit weird.
It's not such strong focus. He's going to have his own series on Paramount.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have we got confirmation that the series is about Knuckles, or is it just with Knuckles?
As I understood it, it was about him, but
yeah, from my understanding, it's a Sonic series that focuses on Knuckles.
Okay, if that's true,
know.
sure.
We'll hopefully they'll clarify eventually. And
I want to make a joke about who this Knuckles exclusive series is going to be written by, but I'm going to
Ken Penders
push that down inside and have it be
it's gonna be
while Alex blurts it out.
It's gonna be written by Ken Penders, and it's gonna have lots of Knuckles clones. It's gonna have lots of Knuckles' ancestors, and it's gonna have like a dingo
Even though it
racist
says he's the last
allegory
of his
thing.
kind.
And it's gonna have all of that, and he's gonna have Knuckles is gonna have like a Borg echidna girlfriend.
At any
Anyway,
rate, hey, there's a mid-credit scene. People have been leaking it online. Hopefully, you
won't
have
be
not been the
orthodox.
ones who have had it leaked onto you.
Yeah,
No,
no, I haven't
thankfully
seen
I
it.
have not. I have not seen it. I am trying my best not to see it.
My trick is that I don't use YouTube regularly. I have everything locked down, so it's not like I'm gonna get something on accident.
I'm rooting for anyone but Shadow, simply because I want Metal Sonic before we have Shadow. That's like the only reason why. I get why
Danica
people want Shadow,
Patrick.
but I don't want him yet.
I repeat, Danica Patrick.
But so as I understand, there's actually
You see
two
it? Yeah, I can
mid-credits.
see it
There's
all
actually two
now.
credit scenes.
Yeah, you see a
There's
big
a
giant
mid-credit-
ring glowing, and suddenly this silhouette comes out. I'm here to save the day, and there she is, Danica Patrick.
She's in
I
her
heard you
racing
heard you
outfit
were
and holding her
fast,
helmet.
but are you as fast as my sprint car?
But
Yeah.
anyway, so there's a mid-credit scene and an end-credit scene. So stay till the end.
Cool.
So in addition to that, we also have uh, two Sonic 2 music videos that have been released recently in French and English. I actually didn't get around to watching the French one. I heard from GX it was kind of stupid, but the English one is just really cool.
Yeah, it was dopey. I liked how dopey it was. It had really cheesy special effects, and I kind of admired it for that.
Well, can you take the lead on the French one before we talk about the superior English version?
Uh, sure. It was geez, Stefan Lagar.
Yeah.
I have no idea of what his discography is. I have not heard of him
French.
before. Yeah. Well, I mean, he does stuff in French. His actual background is a little bit more complicated than that, but he's part of a French label, so sure. Has done the single Speed Life for Sonic 2, I believe, just like the French and French language versions of the movie. It's just like, hey, we superimposed some CG of Sonic from the movie that we just cut around to have him vaguely interact with him and then just do a bunch of behaviors that are sped up. It's weird. It's bizarre. Like if you're a camp monster like me, then by all means go check it out because
Yeah.
there's a lot of ironic love there from me.
It uses a little sample from Somebody's Watching Me, the old 80s pop song. Or Sweet James if you're Californian. Sweet James the Attorney, that's his little commercial jingle.
So the other music video is from Kid Cudi.
The more expensive
this
one with the more expensive artist.
This is like the primary like English
Yeah.
language one that I assume is going to be every other release. But like for me, the highlight of this is that this music video got actual sprite artists to work on it, and so we've got some gorgeous sprite artwork just going throughout this whole thing.
Oh yeah.
It's
Like,
involved.
I'm not the big fan of the song, but I do like the video.
Song's fine.
But let me put it this way: there's been a lot of go around on, I for whatever reason I've decided I want to hurt myself, and I've been hanging out on the Sonic Stadium message board more, and there's some people who vocally want Crush 40 to do something for that, but I think the disconnect there is this version. I don't see this version of Sonic listening to Crush 40. I see this version of Sonic hearing Crush 40 and thinking this is old people music, and that he would be much more likely to listen to something from Kid Cudi.
Yeah, he's very
I
much
would
in
just
the
like to see
modern
Crush
pop
40
culture. He's way too
just
many
like-
references to pop culture.
I would just see Crush 40 like pop up in the soundtrack or pop up in the credits. Like it doesn't have to be like the central song of the movie or whatever, but see them get something in one of these movies. At
So
some
far,
point.
all I've gotten is a little nod in Robotnik's playlist from the first movie.
Yeah, but okay, so like this music video, it had like loads of Easter eggs. Like it had movie Sonic doing the Sonic Adventure pose, which I really appreciated. It had Sonic the Fighters references. um, and of course, like it had had like a lot of stuff taking place in like the Labyrinth Zone and just just loads of Sonic love just throughout this entire music video. And it looked pretty good for the most part, aside from like maybe some bits with the CGI.
Yeah, I
Um,
it's worth watching, and I don't know. It seems like the type of thing that they might put bits of in a. I don't know. I don't want to say something about a movie that's out. There's no point in me speculating about a movie that is actually out.
well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. We haven't seen it, so I think a little bit of speculation is okay. But okay, so if we're ready to move on,
Yeah.
A Sonic cinematic universe is being planned. In case the whole Knuckles TV show didn't tip you off on that.
And
So
the fact that they've already approved Sonic 3.
yeah. So like so apparently like they want to build this out, which is not surprising at all. That's just like the thing the movie companies do now. Now on the whole, I'm hoping for something more along the lines of like maybe one spin-off movie, but but like more like, they do stuff in TV shows, they do stuff in comics, stuff like that. Like I don't like certainly I don't think Sonic can like support an MCU. But maybe like I don't know if it's well written from the right people. A Knuckles Chaotix detective show in the human world could be pretty nifty.
It's chaotics on their own.
Yeah.
I have a
Well,
feeling if they're doing a
they need a human
Knuckles,
partner.
if they do a Knuckles show, it's going to be like in the games where the Master Emerald shattered and he has to pick up the pieces scattered all over the
Well,
world or something.
I would imagine that a Knuckles show is going to focus on his backstory, given like it does seem
That's
pretty clear
possible
that
too.
his
Yeah, I could
backstory is
see that.
important.
I could see that. Yeah.
So if we don't get more about like Pac the Holy Kidna clan in Sonic 2, we're definitely getting the TV series. Um, GX, do you have any thoughts on a Sonic cinematic universe?
My only well, the thought is it doesn't actually mean anything except they want to. Well, there's two ways to look at this. In the practical level, they have achieved the bare minimum of having a cinematic universe by way of having that TV show announced. The idea that there is at least one other thing outside of this.
Yeah.
However, I guess the implied thing is that it does mean that they are looking beyond towards like what it basically they may have further ambitions beyond this. I think it's probably safe to assume at this point that hey, they have a third movie announced. Hey, they have a TV show announced, but it's just kind of that weird situation where cinematic universe can mean it should mean something a little bit more directed as sort of defined by how the Marvel Cinematic Universe uses it. But in this circumstance, like they don't have like the breadth of movies or the breadth of characters in this yet that they can really draw from to actually use that phrase effectively unless like hey,
Hmm.
you're trying to court investors.
I
So,
think they definitely want to do something with Jim Carrey.
well, sure. I
Like
mean, it would
give
be
me
hard
some
to
sort of Dr. Robotnik thing, maybe a TV show or a movie. I don't know, but there's gonna be a thing.
there's going to be something. I think we can at least agree. Well, I mean, we know there's going to be something. We know there's going to be something. If they're going to
Yeah.
pay for Idris Elba to do a TV series, they can pay for Jim Carrey.
Now, following up on this, the movies also will not follow the chronology of the games from here on, which does kind of make it sound like yes, we Shadow's coming now, like he's coming next. That's what this sounds like to me. But basically, it sounds like they're going to start really doing their own thing again from here on out. Now that Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails are all established.
Well,
Um,
let's be honest. This movie is more Sonic 3 than Sonic 2, even though it's got a Sonic 2,
it's
boss and
Sonic 3
Tails.
and Sonic 2 merged together without the Death Egg, at least
Yeah,
as far as I know, or Metal Sonic, which still makes me sad. I really want Metal Sonic in this, and instead we got Knuckles, my favorite Sonic character. But
I am expecting probably Shadow in the next one, and maybe Amy Rose
they
at the
really
most.
need to get Amy Rose in here because, like, like purely from a
Because
marketing perspective,
then you
they
got
need
the
a
original,
girl.
you got the original four heroes, which is
Yeah,
Sonic,
like
Tails, Knuckles, Amy.
as a Sonic fan, I want Amy before Shadow because, like, Amy, I think brings more to the table than Shadow does in terms of what they can do in a movie. Like Shadow, when he comes in, he's just gonna take over the movie because Sonic Adventure 2 is just a whole thing. Whereas, like, I feel like with Amy Rose, like she could I don't know, like I feel like she could would be like better Sonic 3 material, but I don't know. We'll see when Sonic 2 comes out. But that's just like my current thoughts on all that. Um, so
I don't know. I'm sorry. I have been distracted trying to put out a fire because some no, I'll just say it outright. Some idiot decided to tweet the screenshots that we were sharing, and while most of the time I do like to credit people, I specifically asked this person, "Do you want credited?" And they said,
oh
"Please don't." And
I'm
yeah,
sorry. Oh
okay. Well, you can blame you can blame Knuckles then, person I am not going to name online.
I'm sorry. I didn't see that bit.
Yes. So I was putting out that fire. So my apologies. I've been distracted.
Well, I'm
Knuckles,
just glad.
I do not retract my statement of you being an idiot.
I mean, that just goes without saying. Like, I'm just like an
Yeah,
idiot as
that's
a
just
matter of course.
Tuesday for us.
I mean, and we all idiots here, especially 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 you, especially
I
you.
mean, especially
Yeah.
you, but sure. Hey, chronology. You're a fan of movies going in order of games, right? They have to go in the
I
exact
mean,
order.
I think there is a certain level of logic to following up a story where you introduce Knuckles with a story that has chaos in it. So, like, in my
Yeah,
mind,
but
Sonic Adventure just makes sense.
if
Um,
But
you're a movie producer and you want to make money as fast as possible, you are going to use the most pop.
that, but I'm still in the realm of believing whatever the next movie is. And I once again, I am saying this as someone who has not seen the movie or the ending credits. I am of the speculative position that it's probably going to be Sonic Adventure 2 because I feel like that's the next logical
Well,
step of like, hey, we can still have Sonic be confused for this other thing
well,
in the realm of this story.
we know, and we've discussed this before in the past, that when we saw leaked photo sets from Sonic 2 last year, about this time, maybe a little later it was in the summer, I think. The vehicles, the military vehicles, had the word gun on them. They were
yeah, but
Yeah.
under
like you
the
can introduce
organization
something
of
and then
gun.
like not use it in the very next
So
movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
they would definitely follow up that probably with Shadow and maybe Rouge.
But
It's
generally,
not so much of a question of if they will ever do it because they absolutely will do a Sonic Adventure
Oh,
2 movie. It's just the question of is this going to be the next movie? And I'm inclined to say there's a pretty good argument studio side to say it would be the next movie.
Yeah, my main issue with that from a marketing perspective is that like I said while you're out putting out that fire, they don't have like marketers, they like to have a girl character. And like so, Amy Rose, Metal Sonic still make the most sense as the next characters introduced. And from a narrative perspective, you've introduced Knuckles, you've introduced the Chaos Emeralds. The natural next step is like I said, um, Chaos and Tikal. And so I don't know, like to me, Sonic like they really should give Knuckles more time in the sun and not jump immediately to the next shiny object. But then again, like that does kind of sound like something Paramount would probably do. So I don't know. I hope that we don't get Shadow for at least one more movie, but we'll see, I guess.
I mean, let's be real though. There's a good chance that much in the same way that they did with Sonic 2, it's possible we're not going to get the direct interpretation of Sonic Adventure 2. We're probably just going to get a story about, hey, this is the evil Sonic, or some facsimile of
Like
that.
what? Like Dr. Robotnik uses that pull to clone Sonic and that Shadow, and so there's not gonna be any kind of arc or anything. Man, that'd be depressing.
I have no clue. I'm not gonna pretend like I know. And once again, like, hey, I'm really hesitant to start deeply speculating about things right now until
Yeah,
we've
yeah,
actually
true.
seen the
We will
second
know a
movie.
lot more.
Yeah.
Once we've seen the movie. Personally, like I said, I am rooting for the Chaotix and the post credits, or Blaze, or Silver. I'm rooting for all of them, just not Shadow. I will take Rouge. I want to see what a realistic Rouge looks like at this point. I want to see how far they take her design.
Introduce Maria to the story and just never introduce Shadow at any point.
Oh god.
Just have Maria Robotnik in it and never have Shadow.
Okay,
I'm
so
rooting for Metal, but after that I'm rooting for Shadow just because I want these movies to make money.
I
you
just
know?
want a good movie. I just
I just
want a
want a
good
good movie.
movie. I'm not
Yeah.
worried about which character to put in. I want good storytelling. I want good storytelling. I don't want 50 million references. 50 million references are nice as long as they are built off of good storytelling.
So, as host, I must move us on to uh, Sonic 2 content and updates in Forces and Sonic Dash. And yay! I got to finally unlock Movie Sonic and Sonic Dash today. That was fun. And we got we're getting new courses, new tracks in both games. I think as of yet, the Sonic Forces course isn't available yet.
It's starting
But
later today. Like it's starting today or like tomorrow. Last I checked, it
ah,
was in the middle of the day, and it was like this event starts in 22 hours. But yeah, they're not populating the event parts of that quite yet. They had like a catch-up week where I think you could get Baby Sonic. I missed out on
yeah,
that, but
in catch up, we could get Baby Sonic, you could get Movie Sonic, you could get Long Claw.
I didn't
Um,
miss out on it because I never attempted.
I have played the Sonic Dash content, so I can't speak to that.
and that had Living in the City
Yeah,
for the soundtrack, which was
it
cool.
had. Yeah, cool is a word.
I
It's
appreciate it.
yeah, sure. It's cheesy. It's fun. I don't think it's cool. I don't think it's cool in the slightest, but I think it's
It's
fun.
tubular.
Sure, it's tubular, but yeah, it's an additional theme of stages where it is a nighttime cityscape, probably intended to be reminiscent of what, like Seattle, I think.
Yeah, we have the needle in the background,
Okay, yeah,
the Space
and
Needle.
yeah, it's still Sonic Dash, but it's the first nighttime theme, and it's a city theme, so it's pretty significant from the sort of natural themes in it. The one thing I'm a bit sad about is as I was playing, as I was trying to unlock what I got, the one thing I didn't get to see is okay. How do they handle bosses? Because I didn't make it to a boss,
I
and I
did get
really would
two
have liked to see a
bosses.
boss.
And I don't know, it's handled as you would expect. Like,
Okay.
Baz shows up out of nowhere. He says, "I'm gonna beat you like a drum," and then he just does his thing, and I beat him. Then I move on. I was a little sad that they didn't make Dr. Eggman look like Jim Carrey, but
I was hoping that might have been the case. They have changed all of the badniks into the movie style badniks for the time being. The weird
yeah,
pods.
and that's just like throughout the game, not just the Emerald City level. But one
Yeah.
thing I appreciate about this is that unlike the last Sonic Dash movie track, this one is permanent. So like this one's not going to go anywhere.
What
So
was there one that
flexible.
wasn't?
Yeah, the original movie had a Sonic Dash track that left the game after like a few weeks and just never came back.
Oh, well, that's sad because they actually did keep the one for Sonic uh,
Forces.
Forces Speed Battle. They
Yeah, they
actually
did.
did keep that sort of San Francisco style level, and it's a good level.
And like, you better unlock Movie Sonic now because this is the first time he's been available in 2 years in Sonic Dash. So yeah,
Yeah,
don't miss these. I'm really looking forward to Movie Tails and Movie Knuckles though.
I will be. This is probably one of the few times where I probably will be putting $10 into Sonic Forces Speed Battle just to be able to unlock the other characters in that. I feel like it might be worth it this one time.
I guess. I don't know. I didn't have to last time these characters were around because in Sonic Forces like they do bring them back fairly frequently, like at least like once, like a couple times a year.
Even the movie ones?
Yeah, and even the
Oh,
movie
okay.
one. Sonic Forces is much better about this.
Okay, yeah, I knew they did. Well, like the problem with Sonic Dash is full of characters that appeared once and then disappeared forever.
Yeah, that's annoying. I'm so glad I got Bongo.
I might have had a way to get past characters that I will say and not clarify on.
Oh, hacking, I guess, huh? Okay.
Sure. I prefer
So,
modding.
so anyway, moving on. Xbox is giving away furry Xbox controllers inspired by Sonic 2. They look
Yay!
horrible.
Yeah, they do. They look so uncomfortable to hold. I don't know what the hell they were thinking.
Like these are those are the furry controllers you can see below us. Have been below us the entire time on the show. So like yeah, these like I feel like a lot of limited edition controllers are just not designed for use. But like these are like super not
Totally
designed
not
for
designed
actual
for
use.
use.
like
It's a
these are just
decorative
ones.
plate. It's a decorative
Oh,
plate of video game controllers.
Yeah,
uh,
like I have to wonder what they were thinking with this. Have furry controllers ever been done before?
God, I hope not. Like these. Okay. Number one, I fundamentally understand that these fall directly into the realm of how Paramount's been advertising thus far, which is to say, mostly leaning into the worst possible marketing pushes. Just awful. Let's create a meme. Now somehow they found a meme or something that was going to go viral so awful, so fundamentally upsetting to me that I felt the need to take time out of my day and just contemplate what the hell is going on with these. And I
I want
like
to
over
know
in
if
the
we can
message
take
boards, like I
the
came up
material
with
off.
like a mythology surrounding these stupid controllers and why they look the way they do and why anyone would ever make these. And it's like nobody
I
could actually manufacture these. These were somehow found in nature. These are a South American species that somehow evolved a Bluetooth connection.
I
Oh,
it's
just want to
just
know if
I
you
can
can.
I can just feel my hands on them and just ooh.
Don't make me think about it, Jason. Don't make me think
And
about
of course,
touching
the
them.
fur is gonna like get stuck inside the buttons and
Oh.
stuff, and it's gonna get all inside the controller. Like the main thing I'm wondering is
You're
whether
gonna
or
be
not
out
you
in
can take the
Doritos
material
and
off.
Mountain Dew and all
Like,
the little crumbs from the Doritos and
like
the cheese
what
dust
if
gets all over it.
what if
God, we
this is
need to
just
stop this
glued to the
now and move
controller?
on.
What,
We really
like,
need to stop this now and move on, please.
what if this is glued to the controllers? That's what I want to know.
Oh, so have you ever
Shoot the controllers and they're still red underneath and blue. Then it might be worth it.
So the problem is, whenever you get something with that rubber feeling on it or something that has been flocked, and then
Yeah.
you let it age for a couple of years, and then
it falls
slowly
apart.
it just gets miserably sticky.
Yeah.
Imagine
Ooh.
that with these.
Well, think of the
fur is
grip
probably gonna
you'll
just
have
start
on your
coming off in
controller.
clumps, like it's diseased.
Oh,
So, Sonic the Cosplayer actually made his own version of these, which is probably more pleasant to use because you can actually, I think you can actually take off the material and clean it.
I have no clue what's up with. I'm just upset. I'm just upset.
Well,
Congratulations, Paramount. You've made me upset. I hope
well,
that's
Chris,
what
you
your
know what?
goal
You know what
was.
you get an upset child? You get him a Happy Meal.
No, you did. No, that's what you get. That's what you get a child that you hope to make upset later on.
But yeah, so we got the rest
Sorry,
of
I
the
got you those
Sonic
fuzzy
2
controllers.
toys
Here's a
revealed.
Happy Meal with some Sonic toys in it.
Great, some food that I absolutely will not eat. Great.
I'm still contemplating how I'm gonna buy these because I want them, but I don't know if I want to like just go in and say, hey, I want to buy all your Sonic toys.
Well, you can.
Yeah.
A lot of because of a lot of collectors when they had the Pokemon trading card craze. Now
Oh
it's
no,
hard to buy them individually. You have to buy the Happy Meal with them. Because I was
I want
trying
to
to
buy the
collect
Happy
the Mario
Meal.
Kart toys earlier this week, and then or this month, and then last week every single store, every single McDonald's just had Yoshi on a motorcycle. I'm like, I'm done. I give up. It's
So
over.
So here's my take on this. I think these toys look bad, and I don't want them.
there is like maybe I do kind of like the second
I
Sonic one.
want them for the collectability of them. That's
I
it.
don't know. I would
Reason
just like to
to
have a
want
few
them,
of these.
Jason. That's a
But
terrible reason.
I would like to have a few of these only because I have some. I still have my ancient Sonic McDonald's toys.
The
But
problem
yeah,
is
these
those
do look
ancient Sonic
bad.
McDonald's toys are better than these.
They are better than these, but I don't know, there's still a novelty to this. I don't know. But like I don't think I'm gonna go out of my way to like get all 12 though. Although I do want
Yeah, I don't
the
like the
surprise
fact that
toy, whatever
there's
that
three
is.
Tails, three Knuckles, and three Sonic, and then a Eggman robot on top of that.
And the surprise toy.
Here's my hot take on this. I would rather have the UK ones, the paper
Yes,
ones.
we know because so in the UK they have banned plastic. Well, the McDonald's UK and Ireland uh, branch banned plastic from their toys, and so it's all like paper and stuff now. And so yeah,
It's
they
kind
have
of
board
weird
games
because it's kind of weird
and
because they were
dioramas.
doing that here in the States for a while, like starting with Sing 2 and then like the one after that, and then suddenly they just gave up and they just
No,
went
no,
back to
it's still happening, but
plush.
it's not happening for a few years.
Oh.
But as I understand it, Chris, you plan on like playing some of the McDonald's Sonic board games on like
I
almost
don't
every
know
Sonic, right?
if I can get them. I think it's going to be a pain in the butt to actually get these things
Just,
imported, but I'm
well, just
interested.
like have Sven
Well,
get them for
they
you.
have board games on the paper toys. Is that it?
I don't know,
Like
maybe.
when they did Fire and Ice
I
at
did
Carl's Jr.'s.
eventually. I remember hearing that like some board games were confirmed for it, alongside like dioramas and stuff. And so like and so
Yeah, that looks
yeah.
like a future eBay purchase if you're gonna get it.
I guess. I don't know. I don't
I'm
want to say.
telling
I don't.
you,
I don't.
use our UK contacts.
Do I want to make our UK contacts go to McDonald's and get McDonald's food? I don't want to
I
do that
mean,
to anybody.
Sven has a baby. I mean, the baby
What?
can't eat burgers yet, but he'll have to start getting
It's
Happy Meals
Where are you
eventually.
going with this, Alex?
It's not on solids yet.
Where are you going with this, Alex? I want to pull on this thread. What is your actual
It's
thought
fine
process?
if you're getting any chicken nuggets for your kid. Can we have the
Thought
Paper
process
Sonic
is that
toy?
Ben's our boss, and he's a Sonic fan, and he has a baby that he'll eventually have to start getting Happy Meals for. So why not just start getting Happy Meals now? He can eat the burger himself, and
Put
then
him in the
send the toys to
freezer.
you. It's like it'll be like parent practice, you know? Parent practice.
God.
Uh,
So, okay,
That's just
speaking
child abuse, man.
speaking of like childlike things. So
Speaking
the
of
final
child
bit of
abuse,
Sonic, the final bit of movie Sonic news that we've got is Build-A-Bear, which
I guess I'm the expert on this one.
yes, you are. You own these things already, apparently.
Yeah, yeah.
I own the one from last time because my niece got me one. I wasn't planning on it. But...
Oh, you got old movie Sonic then.
Yeah, I got old movie
man.
Sonic Build-A-Bear.
Cool. It's horrifying in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, Build-A-Bear, Sonic's coming back. This is the third time he's been to Build-A-Bear. First time was just traditional game style Sonic, and you could get a sort of a weird Tails thing that didn't look quite right and was smaller than a normal plush. Second one was movie Sonic. It looked like the old one because they had to go back and change everything. Third, now they are offering modern style movie Sonic, which means the corrected version. Tails and Knuckles each. Sonic and Tails will be in stores. Knuckles is an online exclusive. You have to buy Sonic's shoes separately. However, his shoes are a pain in the butt to actually put on. I have found. So, sure. They're okay. I can actually speak to how they look. Sonic still looks weird, because he is still that slightly different shade that he is in the movie. He is furrier than you would expect him to be, and he has, like, not quite partially closed eyelids, but very pronounced eyelids. And the best way I would describe it is Sonic's plush looks like a counterfeit of itself. So yeah,
Sounds like it isn't great.
Tails looks better than I expected. The sample picture online makes it look like he has some sort of weird massive neckline. It is much less pronounced in person, and Knuckles I am still waiting on. But in pictures, Knuckles looks like the best.
Well, he is the best Sonic character.
He really isn't, but continue.
Yes, he is.
I will be getting Knuckles in relatively shortly, actually. It just shipped out like yesterday, I want to say.
So, speaking of the best Sonic characters, moving on to the news, we're gonna start
Tails!
with the worst Sonic character as a VTube show now.
Wait. They made
so-
what? They made one for Infinite? That's real weird.
Tails is a VTuber now, and he dropped some epic lore.
Yeah, we're in a weird place where Ian Flynn is now involved in much more involved with Sega proper in a certain way because
Yeah,
he was
which
one
is
of the
amazing.
He's writing for the games, of course, and he also contributed to this VTube thing. Now, like for the record, like he did not decide that that there is like one Sonic world now or whatever. But like all we know is that he did contribute to this, and so Tails he had Sonic on to his VTube thing. Tails voiced by Colleen O'Shaughnessy, Sonic voiced by Roger Craig Smith, of course, and they basically just like answered some fake questions from like fake fans, including like tell us about your world, which was asked by Don Unpa. And here they confirm that humans and Mobians, I'm going to call them, exist on the same world with Mobians existing on the islands and humans existing on the continents. And
I get why you're calling them that. Let's not start calling them Mobians right now. I understand we went through a whole thing, but
look, until
Just
there's a better name, I'm just gonna call
call
them
them
Mobians.
animals or anthropomorphic animals or
Yeah,
just
just call
animal
them
people.
animal people or
Chris,
furries or
Chris,
whatever,
Chris.
but not the Mobians,
Ian
not yet.
Flynn still uses the word Mobians on his Bumble King, and so I feel very
I
comfortable just
don't.
using that
I.
here. I'm gonna
I
call them
want.
Mobians.
I want to see this. I want to see the next episode of TailsTube whenever they finally do confirm everyone's called a Mobian. Then we can have this discussion. Until then, until
Look,
Tails
this is just
confirms
the
it,
term I'm gonna use because that's the term I feel comfortable using.
I
So
demand
anyway,
a word from the fox's mouth, sir.
so like Mobians live on the islands, humans live on the continents, and yay, like it feels
And
like the world is a little more
internet
cohesive now.
posters freaked out.
Like personally, personally like I've never really cared that much whether or not it's two worlds versus one world. Like to me, it's like two worlds is more confusing. Like that means that Sonic Adventure and Sonic uh and Sonic Forces like happened in two separate planets, and that just frustrated me because like I don't know. That just makes it more complicated than it really needs to be. And this just I appreciate how this just like smooths
Simplifies things
things out.
with a
Simplifies
really
things.
easy answer.
I just I don't care. Like I just don't care, and reason why I don't care is because Sega has never really Sega Sonic Team, Izuka, whoever you want to say, has never really cared. Like it just
True. It's like the Mario series. Mario's doesn't really care about canon. It's completely different every time, you know?
if they were interested in having a
Just
more
telling the exact
designated
same
through
story in a
line,
different way.
yeah, if they wanted to have a more designated through line, it might matter to me because it would maybe inform me of like, hey, this contextualizes this, but we're not in that territory. Like we haven't cared about anything mattering to anything since Shadow the Hedgehog. Like that was the last time that what was going on actually mattered.
Well, I will say like from the classic games all the way through Sonic 06, it did feel like Sonic Team was like at least attempting to keep a continuity and a canon. And then like after that, they just like dropped everything. And I don't know. I've never like, but when that happened, I kind of come to the conclusion that you know what, the storylines in the games aren't all that great, and so I just don't care. And that's just how I've lived as a Sonic fan for the last like 17 years, or 16 years.
It
But
does bring up one important question there is that why if the humans live on continents that's usually a little separate from all the furry animals, the speedy hedgehog and such, why are their roads having loop-de-loops and crazy curves to
Those
them?
they just built those into the landscape. Like apparently the loops and checkerboards are just naturally occurring for as much as Sonic and Tails know. So I don't know, maybe San Francisco analog there just sort of built like, well, we could demolish this ramp or we could just, drive through it because that would be sick.
so like for me, I appreciate this because it it feels like it's the first attempt Sega has made at making this a more cohesive world in over a decade, and so I hope that they kind of keep moving in that direction and maybe like you know make the Sonic world something that I can actually like care about again in the games. So
I mean,
anyway,
if they're gonna continue making stories for these things, and it sounds like I don't know, if Ian Flynn continues to be involved, that's something that has historically been extremely important to him. So it would make some amount of sense, I
yeah.
suppose, that
So
like
some
this would be the
some
part to start doing that.
some other tidbits from this. Sonic said he uses the race car because it's cool, which that feels like something Ian Flynn would have written. To be so,
I mean,
that,
that's something I would have written
yeah,
whenever those
Yeah,
games
really.
came out before. It's like Sonic's a freaking teenager. Yeah, of course he wants to drive the car. Of course he wants to drive the car. I don't care if you're a teenager who can run real well. If you have the option of just running real well or having a car, then the teenager will choose having the car.
and when they were showing examples of humans, eagle-eyed viewers noticed a strange woman who doesn't match up with the other human she was next to, and
Yeah, they're
is
mostly
everything
showing
she and
humans
Sonic came
from
before.
Unleashed and that, and this one's a brand new one. And the fan base is obsessing heavily over it, and I could care less about who this is.
I mean, this is the equivalent of the fan base also obsessing over that time that Eggman was upside down and they turned it into a character.
Yep.
I love that. But anyway, so like Ian Flynn gave it a knowing smile. I think Kazuyuki Hoshino also like hinted that yeah, this is something. And so I'm thinking that like this may be our first look at something from Sonic Frontiers that isn't a landscape. So maybe humans are coming back. Who knows?
Some people are very excited about that. I don't fundamentally understand those people.
I mean, I will always prefer furries, but you know, eh.
Now I'm stuck between two possible titles for the episode. So far, we have Souvenirs from Mobius, but we also have I Will Always Prefer Furries.
Go.
Anyhow, go on.
Go with whichever one, Chris. So, all right. So,
With the
Sonic
speed.
Prime touts cinematic action sequences, and Wild Brain also says that they are using the show to modernize their 3D animation pipeline.
So
And
this
this
was
is the most expensive thing they've
Okay.
ever produced.
So
This
now
was-
we know it's a 3D animation and not 2D, I guess.
Well, we
no,
already knew it was
we
3D.
knew that.
But what we now know is that this thing has a budget, and this thing is like this thing is like a premiere animated show for Wild Brain, and like this is probably why they keep hiring so many people, because they're using this to basically rebuild their entire 3D animation pipeline.
It's not a bad excuse. Now this it's worth mentioning is I'll certainly take this with a grain of salt. This was something that they said in their investor briefing, so it can't be a lie because they can't lie to investors.
Yeah.
But not investor briefing, investor presentation to attract new investors.
Like at best, it can be an exaggeration.
But the other major aspect of it is Sonic Boom was a great cartoon, but one thing it was not was an action cartoon. It was a cartoon that
it was a comedy,
strained to occasionally have action sequences, but yeah, it was a comedy. For them to actually invest and then tout action sequences in this definitely suggests, hey, this might be the Sonic series that has a much greater focus on action, which the only one that I could point to that would otherwise would just be like Sonic X, because I can't think of any other major
at AM.
I don't know if I would call that action though. Like it had a lot of subterfuge, but
it did have action, but it was also a low budget show. Like all of Sonic shows have never had a massive budget. That includes Sonic X, which is why while it has action, it's like very, very like stilted action for the most part. But
yeah, sure.
but yeah, so like this sounds like it's gonna be like the first Sonic show that just goes all in on high budget action, like
or at least moments of it.
Yeah, which that is exciting. Like I like maybe the whole cinematic action sequences is just like an investor buzzword or whatever, but like that gives me hope that like this is going to be a really good show to look at.
And I look at the early art that got leaked to us and think, okay, this might still be a little bit funny. It's not going to be super serious with all the multi-generational Eggman in this photo.
Yeah.
Those are funny, so something for everyone so far.
And we also have like Pirate Knuckles and Jungle Girl Amy and Tails with 9 tails.
Yeah.
Okay,
Unfortunately, we also have something for everybody.
Yes, I'm sure you love this because you love mobile crossovers, Chris. I know how much you played them last year. Sonic is coming to 2 more mobile games now. Kart Rider, which had that Mobius thing that that we just
So,
talked about, and
okay,
Candy Crush.
Yeah, we need to get some context to actually explain what some of these things are. Candy Crush
Yeah.
Saga is still Candy Crush Saga.
Everybody knows Candy Crush shit.
It comes pre-installed on your Windows install. It comes pre-installed on your phone because Activision Blizzard sucks and King sucks, and I hate them. These are my opinions. They're not the opinions of Sonic Stadium, but I'm angry and cranky about this, so I'm speaking out of hurt. It's only a weekend. You only get this for a weekend. It is now and like the next 2 to 3 days. And
Oh wow.
basically, hey, Sonic's there. Go match up these blue things, which now look like spin dashes. So I'm looking forward to just getting through this and being done with it. The other one I'm a little bit more interested in. Kart Rider and Kart Rider Rush Plus are these Korean developed, actually pretty major kart racing games. Like these are big in Korea based on what research I have been able to do on it. And it seems like it's a little bit more involved. You can get Sonic themed stuff for your karts. And it sounds like it is at least started in the mobile game. The PC version of the game, just Kart Rider, that I believe is exclusive to Korea. There is a global version that is sort of going in and out of closed beta, but right now, if you want the Sonic stuff, it just seems like it's going to be limited to the mobile game. It is free to play though, so hey, if that floats your boat, you can give it a shot and see if it's for you.
Yeah. Okay, so next on the agenda, First Four Figures has revealed their 30th anniversary Sonic statue. Even though the 30th anniversary was last year, I guess better late than never.
Hey, matches the game.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And as we can expect, it looks nice.
It looks like the stock art of the Sonic 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
Honestly, it makes me question if that's the actual one, because they haven't like fully revealed it.
Oh no, this is definitely the statue.
Yeah, they have kind of listed it as a tease. It's like, hey, coming up soon, we're gonna have a live stream where we're gonna reveal the price and all the details and everything. But yeah, it looks like the stock art that Sega made to celebrate the 30th anniversary. It looks very much like that. It's just modern Sonic running out of like a giant ring.
Yeah.
With the Sonic 30th anniversary text on it. It looks
I'm
nice,
just
but
wondering how expensive this is going to be.
it's gonna be like $400. They're all like
Probably.
$400.
I've seen these things go as high as 600.
Maybe they'll offer it a 2-pack with the $400 Sally statue that definitely won't exist.
Hey, quiet.
I
voted
stand
for
by
it.
my
I want
statement.
it.
What
I
else
do.
do you want, Alex?
I want a Fang the Sniper plushie that I don't have to spend $500 on, and I finally got it, and it looks nice. So yeah, GE announced this thing last month. It got leaked like back in January, but like I don't know. I was a little hesitant to news that, but now it's out, and like we can buy it, and it just looks good.
And they're teasing you with further plush on Twitter.
Yes, like being the dynamite duck apparently might be a thing next.
Who knows? I know someone in the community that will be very excited for that.
Ooh, is that me?
No, it's someone else.
Ian Flynn?
No, I mean, look, if Ian Flynn wanted to get a Bean the Dynamite plush, Ian Flynn can get a Bean the Dynamite plush. Like he's not above.
Oh yeah,
he's got
that big comic book money.
Yeah, he's got big game writing money now. Oh la la, too good for us in the slums now.
Sure, I'm sure he's a millionaire.
I just want to create the scenario of like elitist Ian Flynn. He's too good for your Archie characters now.
Chris, there are people who believe that.
I know.
That, and then harass him over it.
I know. Oh, it's the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah. But
I hate Sonic
anyway,
fans.
like this is the kind of Sonic merch I actually really enjoy. Like take an obscure Sonic character, turn them into a plush, and then let me buy them at an affordable price. So
I
like
can't
yeah.
complain. I got my wish whenever I got Tangle and Whisper and Gamma, and I don't know. I'm still under the impression that the next Sonic character we get will probably be either like more likely Surge, possibly
Well,
Kit. I
oh
don't know.
yeah, in terms of comic book characters, sure. Although Tikal has been confirmed.
Okay, cool.
So Zygomatic Games.
Yeah.
I remember I brought you this news. I think while you were on stream, and you had to like interrupt yourself to look it up.
Yeah, it was weird. Zygomatic Games is a division of Asmodee, who is like one of the biggest game publishers out there. Um, board game. Zygomatic Games has this. It's a very cute little Sonic board game
Yeah, it
called
looks
Sonic
really
Super
neat.
Teams. It looks like it aims young. It looks pretty basic, but it looks cute. It's the kind of thing where, much like whenever Sonic the card game was coming out, this I have low expectations but high hopes. We'll say.
Hmm.
Looks cute. There's images on the website. Go check them out. They actually have Zygomatic is actually officially has their on their website now. It has a page. If you're in the UK, you can pre-order it from Game. If you're in the US, I don't know. Sucks to be you.
Mm.
So that is all of the news. Aside from that lovely cereal, that lovely Sonic
Yeah, we're
cereal. I
not
hope you
talking
buy
about the
some.
dang cereal, Alex. We
Which
know
is
you care about the cereal. No, we're not
I'm
talking
gonna
about the
go into
cereal.
Publix and get some Sonic cereal. I'm very happy. But anyway, so we are talking about the Sonic movie, the Sonic 2 prequel movie comic tonight. Um,
Technically, it's
Great.
pre-quill. It's the two
Oh,
separate words.
basically what I
I get
said,
it now.
prequel.
I get it. It's a pun. I'm glad you
Exactly.
explained that to me, Jason. I was completely in the dark.
So it was this whole thing was written by Kyle Fegley. It features art from Adam Bryce Thomas, Evan Stanley, and Tracy Yardley. When Tracy Yardley has to draw had to draw a story with humans in it,
And a
and
shaggy-looking Sonic.
it was it looked way better than I was expecting because Yardley's humans in the past weren't really all that great in my opinion, but they look great here. But anyway, so yeah, so the primary feature here is the Sonic story, Hedgehog Day Afternoon, where he foils a bank heist, and it's a story. It's not quite what I was hoping for
It's
from a
not my
prequel
favorite
comic.
story in the book, even. No.
Honestly, it's probably the one that I liked best. It
Really.
I feel like by far that is the one that I found actually most entertaining, but I think that's going to speak to how I feel about this book as a whole. It was a story in which Sonic foils a bank robbery for a group of people who you eventually find out are trying to steal under contract Eggman or Dr. Robotnik's old devices for
Yeah,
some sort of mysterious
basically, the whole goal was to steal his tech love that controls his drones, and they were trying to steal it for Agent Stone, but like at the moment they figure out how to use it, they're all like, "Oh hey, we can use this for ourselves now. We're gonna steal this bank vault." Yeah.
You know why I like this one best?
Why?
It was the only one that seemed to be having fun. Like none of like it's probably my biggest criticism of this whole thing. Well, is twofold. Number one is something that they couldn't help, and that's hey, it's a promotional comic for a movie that will be coming out, which means they don't
Yeah.
really have a lot of space to
Mhm.
do anything meaningful there except,
Yeah.
sort of over explain things that didn't really need to be explained in the first time. But the other issue is like this I don't know, something about this comic is just so freaking self-serious in a way that I don't jive with. This is the Sonic movie about Sonic being the weird goofy kid and having weird goofy adventures and I don't know, making annoying references to pop culture stuff. And here we have like we just have so many self-serious incidents that just weren't joyous or giddy or
Well,
fun.
I enjoyed The Secret of My Distress, which I didn't think that was a particularly serious storyline. Like, it felt like something that was, like, I don't know, like, Stone was trying to be serious, but, like, he basically just, like, goes through all of this effort just to steal someone's coffee shop.
I guess,
I don't
well,
know, I
I-
found that to be kind of funny.
the problem
I
is
do like that we see a little bit of an evil streak to Agent Stone, because all we've seen of him before is being a very faithful lapdog to Robotnik and
that's
being abused for it.
that's kind of the thing, is that like that's the angle that okay, this is one of the few times in which I will say there is an angle to this that I prefer seeing over the standard. And I think it's funnier if he's just a loser bootlick. I think it's funnier if he just has the coffee shop and you don't necessarily explain all the steps on how he got there. I think
Well,
it's funnier
I
if
guess
he's
it's not just about him having a coffee shop. There is a scene in one of the trailers or TV spots where the Robotnik's got the glove again. He snaps his fingers or in something, and the entire coffee shop's turning around. And I guess
Yeah, but I don't care. Like, I
wait,
don't
this is a
need.
slight
was this
explanation
was
for
I
it.
this
don't.
story basically how Agent Stone got Robotnik's glove back? Was that like the whole reason why this was done?
Apparently, like, well,
Huh.
and maybe to explain, like, so you and I had Alex had this sort of weird discussion a while back whenever the first of the latest Star Wars trilogy was out, where
Yeah.
you were going into this, I guess it was like a comic or something, where they were explaining how we got from point A to point B. And my response was, well, I mean, I guess honestly, if I had to predict it, it would probably be like this happened and then this happened and then this happened. And then your response was, yeah, that's basically what happened. This comic just feels like it's over explaining. It just feels like we don't really need to know how he got
My,
the glove. We don't really need to know like
I mean,
how he got the coffee shop. In some ways, it's funnier if they don't tell us.
I do
I,
like that each short story is having a little bit of a continuity with each other. They're leading into each other in some certain way, but the problem I have with the last two, not the last two, but I think the Robotnik one's fine. The Knuckles and Tails is they don't really lead anywhere. That's both Knuckles looking for Sonic and Tails looking for
yeah.
where Sonic's gone.
Now, I
And the
will
Tails
say,
ones especially, it's just suddenly he's captured. They have a gladiator contest. He easily defeats the big boss, and then he teams up with the people who captured him to say, maybe you can help me find this,
There's
hedgehog
an
person.
okay. There's an admitted amount of character building in that. Like
so
the fact that he does all of those things sort of does tell you, okay, well this is what Knuckles is like, and what the depths that he is willing to go to get to what he's trying to do is that
Yeah.
he's willing to work with people that are, don't have giving him trouble. And it does transition to like what's going on with Tails. There are elements of that. The Tails story, I guess, sets up bits of what happened right before the like credit scene of the first movie, but I think more than anything, it was just an excuse to say, well, this level exists, and remember this level from games, and this level, and then
And,
also this enemy from the
oh,
abandoned version of the
so
movie.
I want to kind of go back to
the main thing it answers is that we know for sure that Longclaw the Owl is dead.
Yeah.
This is where she fell. That she's gone now. Because the original movie left it with off-screen possible death where she's injured, but she goes to attack the whole Echidna tribe while Baby Sonic goes through the ring.
Now it
And
also
we never knew her fate. Now we do.
and it does confirm one other factoid, that in this version of the story, Knuckles still remains the last echidna.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
do want to go back to Hedgehog Day Afternoon because that is the most substantive story in here. And for me, like the, the weakest part about this whole thing was that the characters just didn't really grab me. Like, there wasn't really much of anything to the crooks. There wasn't much in terms of chemistry between Wade and Tom. And so like
I
the
have
strongest,
something to admit here. I
yeah.
didn't know which one was supposed to be Wade, and I didn't know which one was supposed to be Tom.
Well, I knew that like Wade was the bigger one who's also kind of a moron.
I
But
couldn't tell them apart because they all looked like just people.
anyway, so like for me, like the strongest 2 pages were like the first two, where Sonic was just kind of going about his day and trying to figure out what to do with himself, and then it just kind of got a little boring and like Sonic shows up Sonic shows up in the bank. The red-haired lady's reaction when she sees him is ah. It's like it's not like the kind of reaction you would expect from someone who is suddenly looking at an anthropomorphic rodent alien thing. And it's
It
like,
tells you that Sonic really isn't putting a lot of thought into this, thinking about like, okay,
yeah,
who is someone who isn't who is a target, who is not a target, which I guess would play into sort of the antics that he gets up to from what we know in the movie trailers.
like that is accurate. But then Sonic is knocked out, and then it's just like page after page of like mostly the human characters, and Sonic
It's
just kind of stuck inside the safe. And I don't know, like it wasn't terrible, but like it just
Didn't really add anything, but
didn't really grab me.
that's the thing about movie prequel comics. They never really add anything of importance because they can't.
What I was
If
just
there's the
hoping that
film,
like we
you
were
don't
gonna like
want. Okay, go
see.
ahead.
I was just hoping that we were gonna see more of like Sonic's dynamic with Tom and Maddie, like because we barely got any of that in the first movie. I assume we won't get much in the second movie, and so it's like just like I guess wanted to like see some humor and chemistry between him and these two other characters, and instead it's just kind of a bland, I don't know, action book.
Yeah, the last
I'm
time
willing.
they did something that was a prequel, but before our next movie that was important to the plot was Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker, in which you heard the Emperor's message from the galaxy in
And
Fortnite.
look, the Star Wars movies
That was terrible.
do like major plotline things off screen before. Like that happened in the very first movie where it's like, hey, this all this like big government stuff happened off screen, but like we're just gonna tell you in a text scroll. So I don't think that matters. I don't care. It didn't. That's not a thing that bothered me in the movie. Like
I
Palpatine's back. That's all
I
you need to know.
I
But
will
yeah,
briefly defend this story in that it had two aspects of it. It had building Sonic's character, which
yeah,
I mean, you kind of get to see, hey, his decision process between I'm going to do this versus I'm going to do this. And you had everything going wrong with it. You had basically it devolving into chaos, which in itself I think kind of speaks to how they're establishing Sonic's character in the movie, that
Right.
he's that he is young, that he doesn't think things through. And I mean, there's aspects of that version of Sonic that I don't like. I've complained many times about
yeah.
the pop culture references, but at the same
Yeah, that
time,
I don't like either. Is the pop culture's getting
but
out of hand.
at the same time, uh it it is a very valid interpretation of like this type of character. I think it's otherwise a pretty good version of it in compared to the non-version of anything that they've ever
Yeah.
tried to give Sonic personality in the games,
Like
which
Sonic
is
in this
a
is
way of
good.
phrasing that sentence.
But part of the issue for me is that Sonic kind of gets. There's not enough Sonic in this for me, and like the other human characters just don't do enough. Like I
I
do
think
appreciate that Sonic was like
it's
workshopping his superhero name. Like, take
I
Boggy
think there
unkillable.
I think there was enough Sonic to get the point across. It was perhaps
It
longer
was.
than it needed to be. We may not have needed to spend that much time with the criminals, whom we will never see again because they probably don't matter to the actual movie. But
Basically,
man,
whenever
did we
Sonic
decide to spend a lot of time focusing on their decision-making process.
whenever Sonic wasn't taking up the bulk of the page, I was bored.
Whenever Sonic's not on screen, everybody should be asking, "Where's Sonic?"
So yeah, so at the end, of course, Doctor Stone gets his glove back and gets Robotnik's glove back, and at last it's back where it belongs, and not in the hands of someone so basic, which is of course, a reference to a line that from the first movie. So, yeah. But in any case, so the very next story just goes right into that, and just is all about like Agent Stone reading Doctor Robotnik's manifesto. And I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate two things about this. I appreciate just actually seeing Doctor Stone being developed as a character in
Dr.
this, because
Stone?
like, sorry, Agent Stone.
Okay, I thought you were talking about something that I just missed in it, that he actually has a doctorate or something.
No, it's Agent Stone. But like, so we get to like see him worm his way through a, like I said, through a coffee shop and eventually take it over. And like throughout that we get to learn more about him and we get to hear more about like how Dr. Robotnik thinks. And I found that to be interesting and kind of humorous, and like that's kind of why I think this is probably my favorite story in the entire comic.
I I don't know. It pushes again. It just kind of comes down to like there's a good funny way to do that. I just don't. I am depressed that it was felt that working at the coffee shop had to be part of a plan. That it couldn't have just been something dumb that happened.
I don't know,
Like
like,
something sad and pathetic to happen to this character who exists to kind of be sad and pathetic.
well, the thing is, like, I don't know. Like I said, like this also kind of lets us see in the brain of Doctor Robotnik, because he's like using like Doctor Robotnik's lessons on how to work his way through society and manipulate people and stuff.
Like
And so, like in that sense, we also do get to kind of learn how Doctor Robotnik got where he was in the first movie,
if
and it's, I don't know, like I find this more entertaining than him just going to work at a coffee shop and
if if
running it through mishaps.
if Stone was the biggest dork like Dr. Starline,
Yeah.
I would be all over this. I would be perfectly fine with everything going on here. All we know about Agent Stone from everything we've experienced is that
You don't
he's
like
just
it because he's too competent in this, is what you're saying.
yeah. I don't like how competent. I don't like how it feels like everything here is like everything's happening by just no. He's freaking working at a coffee shop. You don't need to explain. Oh, he's working at no. He's working at a coffee shop because he got fired from the army. He
Well,
has the glove because he's obsessed with not because like oh
keep
we
in
need to make a
mind,
big deal about this.
he's not just running the coffee shop. He's not just working at a coffee shop. He's running the coffee shop. He is the boss. And like, that had to happen somehow. And so, I don't know. Like that's just what I appreciate about this. But
I still feel like there are better ways to make that happen
like,
than
if you're going to compare him to Dr. Starline, then yeah, sure. He's Agent Stone is never going to be Dr. Starline, because Agent Stone in the movies is just like a one-note joke who
yeah.
happens to have an actor who is very charming on social media and very enthusiastic about his role for some reason.
I sure. I feel everything in this just feels too contrived to absolutely no end. And I get that
Eh,
people like this sort of character in that way. I think it's funnier whenever these types of characters are just sort of sad. Like I'm looking at him and I'm thinking I would rather he be closer to an Orbot at some point. Like just things going bad. But you know what? I've gone on too long about this.
So
I've made
we
my
should move on to Knuckles, which we've already talked a bit about, and I might as well give my opinion. It's fine, like it's okay. Like this is like just kind of mid tier for in the context of this comic.
He beats up a dude, and then we discover that he's looking for Sonic.
Like
Yep,
I really like
such
the
there's such a non-story to this story. That's what
I really
bothers me.
like the art in this, and there's one aspect about this that I appreciate that I know no
Is
one
it
else
the
will.
Chaotix? Is it that the Chaotix are there?
It is the page that the Chaotix are on. We
Uh-huh.
do get to see a little bit of world building here.
No, we
Which
don't. Well,
I
we don't
don't
get to see the
know,
world
like,
building that you're pretending that we're seeing. But sure.
well, like I don't know if this is relevant to the movies, but if it
No,
is,
it
it
isn't.
does indicate like a like intergalactic civilization that uses power rings to get around.
This is
I
not
don't know.
relevant to. It is not. Well,
Like
okay, okay,
if that's
okay. Go
actually
ahead.
where they're going, if that's actually where they're going, it's neat. You know, like I appreciate that direction. So you know, like so like and that's something that this would appear to establish. And so you know
Okay.
that's fine, neat,
My
okay,
my apologies. My apologies, Alex.
yeah.
I thought you were going to just be very, very excited about the Chaotix.
I mean, I'm assuming that that's just a cameo thrown in by I think
Okay,
this is from Evan Stanley, right?
Yeah,
Like, I
that's
don't think this
something
was
that Evan
serious.
Stanley would do.
yeah.
Like yeah.
I just got a word. I guess if what this might affect, how this will look for box office the next week in the U.S. Who knows? But in France, the Sonic 2 is the third highest grossing movie on opening day.
huh.
Oh, okay, sure.
That's
Good
a
for them.
positive news, and it's doing a bit better than the first one even on
Huh.
opening day.
Huh?
Neat.
Good for them.
Yep.
America will be different just because we don't want to be the same as France.
Well, Sonic 2 doesn't have any competition this next weekend. This
Oh, that's
weekend it would have
right.
been Mobius, but Mobius is bombing so bad. I don't think
Morbius.
Morbius.
Morbius, whatever, with an
Morbius.
R. It still looks.
That's a significant word in the Sonic pantheon, Jason. We can't
I
get
know.
those confused.
I get that word confused all the time.
Wait a minute.
Morbius.
Wait a minute. Is Morbius in the kart racer? Is that
No.
what we're going with this? Are we getting
And
like
That would be
pseudo Marvel
hilarious.
vampire?
That's the only way it could make any money, apparently, because God, the Rotten Tomatoes is like 15% on Morbius right now.
Do we
But
have
anyway.
anything to say about Tails?
It's a
That
story
was
that
okay.
exists.
He's just looking around for Sonic and going through
Yeah.
levels, but that's kind of a non-story too. Except
I
we
guess-
found out what the fate of
Again, I do appreciate some
Longclaw
of the
is.
additional context that this gives. Like, as this is how we learn that Longclaw died. And this also apparently there's a shrine to Longclaw, which indicates that like she wasn't the only sentient being on this planet. So that's something, I guess. And he seems to be tracking Sonic via chaos energy, which is interesting. Like, why would he be? Why would Sonic be a source of chaos energy? I did
when
read that right, right?
Whenever I drink too many carbonated drinks, I'm a pretty big source of chaos energy.
Let's see. Yeah, there are strong. There are strong chaos energy signatures within within workable distance, an unusually erratic spike at an uninhabited mushroom planet, and Earth, which of
And
course
then
is a backwater planet because Earth is always a backwater planet.
yeah,
And
so
that ties into the Knuckles story because the people that Knuckles worked with, I guess Spot Tails or something.
they are, I guess, apparently
They were
tracking
falling
him.
right behind him. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we get remember that time whenever we reported that hey, Jim Carrey actually pitched or like spearheaded one of the comic book story ideas, and
Yes.
then yeah,
The one.
he sure did. That definitely one of the comic stories that was in
Yeah.
there.
And like, I don't know, I guess we get some context in regards to how he survived on the mushroom planet by
Did we?
eating mushrooms.
Did
I don't
we?
know.
Did we?
This is probably my least
Or
favorite
using his
story.
wits to survive.
Nothing happens. It's like the whole thing that happens is he eats some mushrooms and talks a lot. Then he gets bitten by mushrooms and talks a lot. Then he continues to talk a lot.
He did
GX,
kill
nothing has
the
happened for
mushrooms
the
that were trying
last
to kill
3
him.
stories.
I'm sorry for having expectations for things to happen, Jason.
But
I
like,
said
I'm
again,
not really
nothing
sure what
happened
he's
in Knuckles,
spearheaded
nothing
here.
happened in Tails, nothing happened with Robotic.
But like, yeah. He found some mushrooms. Some of the mushrooms started eating him. And then then like a whole cave full of mushrooms started swarming him. He said, "I am the boar. You are the truffles. I am the." And he said, "No, I refuse to relent. I deny deletion." And then he burns a
Why
gigantic
are we repeating his
predatory
phrasing?
mushroom.
Like, do you have a point, Alex? I'm
Oh,
sorry
I
to
don't
be that
know.
blunt
I have
about it,
nothing to
but
talk about here. I'm trying to find something. And so
there is nothing. Look. There's two things that happen here. Number one, we know at the end of Sonic 1, Jim Carrey was pressing the studio to say, "Hey, what if I wore a fat suit in the next one? What if like he was eating the mushrooms and then had a reaction?" And then this time he went to the author and basically said something along the lines of, like, we don't know this. I'm assuming, I'm projecting onto Jim Carrey because this is something that he would say. What if he just had like psychedelic mushrooms and went a little bit crazy? Because that's the type of thing that he would say to justify his character being the character that he wants it to be.
But yeah, it's just Robotnik being Robotnik for like 4 or 5 pages.
Yeah.
And
Like
then 200 days until Christmas is the final thing that's said in this comic.
for context here, as much crap as I'm giving this, like I don't think it's any better than any of the other like major promotional stuff that they've done. Like I don't look at this and think this is significantly worse than the various Archies in another place in another time, or whenever IDW did the Team Sonic Racing one-off. I don't think it's worse than those. I just kind of am disappointed that we have not gotten past that yet. That we cannot do these better.
Yeah, it's
quite
just
yet.
kind
Yeah.
of exists, but it doesn't really add to anything other than, hey, Long Claw's dead, just to let you know for for sure
Yeah.
for certain this time.
At the end of the day, I had enough fun with this, but yeah,
But I wanted to have more fun. I wanted to have
Yeah.
fun because you know what? There's elements of this world that are fun, and they didn't really highlight those elements. I don't know. They're movies. I'll see it in a week's time. So
Yep,
sure.
yep. And I'll see it in less than a week because I'm watching it on April 6th with Corey.
And then you guys don't get to talk about it for several days while I wait until Saturday so I can see it with my friends.
I hate you so much. I hate you with the passion of a trillion suns.
I'm okay
I
with
want
that.
to
Hey,
burn
now you know how
Pennsylvania to
I
the
feel as
ground.
now you know how I feel as a One Piece fan
Well, you
who's
know what?
seen
No
all
one
of the manga and everything.
No, we didn't
Not
ask
me.
you to read the manga, Jason. Like we
Can't
were
relate to
content
either
to
of
wait
you.
on the
You
dub.
got me into the dub, and then once the dub ended, I wanted more.
I think
So I read
now
the
that
manga.
the episode has devolved into personal infighting, that's a good time to close.
Okay, okay. So where can we find you, Shigs?
You keep your Sonic's name out of your mouth.
Were you trying to say Sonic Stadium? Because you haven't written for them for a while.
Yeah, I need to write some more. I do podcasts on Sonic Stadium, which you can read here. You can see here.
Read
I was
podcast
doing
Stadium.
Sonic Revolution. We're not doing a convention this summer. It's been delayed till fall, but it's still happening. That's pretty much it from right now. I've got a lot of my time is busy taking care of my 90-year-old mother, who's in hospice now. So I got take care of her. That's a 24/7 job currently. What are you up to, Alex?
Well, I am writing articles for Sonic Stadium. I'm trying to start a series of IDW Sonic reviews, written reviews. Um, I haven't had much time to get too far into it, but I've at least done the reading. So that's like typically the most time-consuming part for me when it comes to anything comic book related. And of course, I will be watching that movie, and we will be doing a Sonic movie podcast on hopefully next Sunday or the Sunday after next, April 10th.
That's my
Um,
birthday.
yeah, you're gonna be
Happy
like
birthday.
I think like 89 or something.
No, 51.
But GX, where can we
Which,
find
according to
you?
Patton Oswald, is not a birthday.
Hi, I'm GX, aka Chris, aka the Spin Dash, and you can find me writing at least 60 to 70% of the news stories over on Sonic Stadium. I am frequently in the Discord. I have periodically poked through the message boards. And of course, I primarily run the Twitch streams over on twitch.tv/Sonic Stadium, which some of you might actually be watching right now, live. The upcoming stuff includes Sunday, we're going to continue our playthrough through Sonic Adventure on almost every Sonic. Tomorrow, I've got my good friend Saber Pilot on for Sega Sonic Radio, and I might do an additional stream because apparently there's some mobile games out and they have Sonic content on it, and
Yay!
maybe that needs to be documented in some fashion. So yeah, that's a distinct possibility. Then Tuesday, I have no clue what's going to happen in a stream, but something will happen. But most importantly, everyone who is listening right now, set your calendars to Sunday. Sunday, April 10th. After all of us have seen the movie, we and all three of us, plus we are anticipating having Dreadnoughts on to discuss the movie. We are having a special movie session of
Yay!
Sonic Talk. It will be earlier than we normally have it on that Sunday, but get excited because I'm excited for it. I'm excited to finally figure out what the heck this movie is and be able to, probably be more depressed about it than Dreadnoughts.
Okay. It was nice having you all here. Thank you for letting me host. It's been a little while since I've done this. Um, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, peace
Everyone.
all.
Bye-bye. Later.